by Kimmerer, the title I've forgotten for a moment. Sweetgrass, Raising Sweetgrass, in which the whole book is a challenge to capitalism from an indigenous point of view, and Gladys made a presentation about that book. When revered, to be a socialist, that is, an eco-socialist, we must live according to the principles of the Quechua, indigenous people in South America. And it means living well. This is no austere philosophy that Fred and Chris are proposing, but rather is.
Where is the climate change?
But it is meaning well, living. So living well. Hello. Hi.
Come on.
Hi. Hi. I'm glad to see you. Hi, Liz. This is my old friend I had lunch with, and both of them friends I had lunch with for maybe a decade over at the studio. And we're talking about...
Hey, Dick, introduce your friends.
Yes. Elizabeth, would you introduce the two of you, please?
Okay, this is Dr. Douglas James and his wife Elizabeth Adams.
Thank you. And Elizabeth Adams' mama was a student of mine at the English department for several years. And Doug is our ornithologist extraordinaire in Arkansas. Thank you. And so we're discussing the next to last chapter of this book entitled Creating an Ecological Society. And the first pages following a pattern that you will find throughout here because they're constantly challenging themselves, I think. Not just telling their readers, but challenging themselves. Am I doing what I said I would do at the very beginning? That is, to show you why we had to reject capitalism and we had to choose another world, a new society. And their description of capitalism is evolving and changing and being reinforced throughout, but so is their dream of a new society, which on this page 284, they add the new idea of bon vivre, of living well. 10 million people follow this philosophy in Latin America, and it does not, and it opposes capitalism. So it's a good example to support their one of their central arguments that we can have a different society. We don't have to live as we live today. Now, excuse me, get this out of my way here. All people are to have equal access. Well, this is mind-blowing. I've been brought up in such a different way of competition that makes distinctions among people, and we'll never have enough resources to give everybody. And anyway, we don't want people to receive any more money than just the bare embarrassment minimum, because it ruins their character. I was born in Harrison, Arkansas, in a small town, and I can remember that austerity, they didn't call it then, was it? But the idea of austerity will make you strong. And of course, they're not advocating luxury. They're advocating a basic, decent living wage for everybody and have access to it. All. Individual freedom. I had to search for the word freedom in this book. Individual freedom is to be achieved in a community, living people, cooperating with other people, seeking fairness with other people, seeking democracy from the bottom up with other people in a community. Economic equality is what they recommend, and the value of equality is on almost, I'll say, every third page in this book, maybe every fifth page in this book. Equality is the highest thing. You ask our troops today, why did you fight? And they said, we fought freedom. And equality is never mentioned. I never heard it mentioned. I'll stand corrected if you all have. If you've ever met anybody who has said, well, I fought for equality. It's rare, you'll have to admit. Well, this is chapter 11. I hope I've evoked it. It's all I can manage to do in a short time. This is a long chapter. This is the first 2 pages of the 11th chapter of the last section of the book. It's rich in discussion. The 2 pages will provide 10 letters to the editor. It's a major challenge. These 2 pages in a book that is an extraordinary challenge to our society and the principles of our society. So shall we say, buen vivir to everybody? Not meaning that you were going to join that tribe necessarily, but that this book has the spirit of good living, well living. A little digression. What's the function of this book for? Think of it. What is the function of this book for? Isn't it to bring us together, to encounter other consciousnesses, other ways of seeing and believing and doing? And book after book after book, as we just mentioned, a whole book from indigenous point of view. Well, that's a spine racer for me. And so here is another book that asks us to get out of our groove, to try to step into the feet, into the sensibilities, into the mind of another writer, in this case 2 writers, who are identifiable in their ideology. But surely that is a major purpose of our book forum. And as we said, Malcolm is going to discuss a different book in a month. Remind us of the topic, Malcolm, next month.
The Republican War on Science.
Okay, so the incredible, unbelievable rejection of science in the United States of America during the past 2 to 3 to 4 decades. Who could ever believe that such a thing would happen to us? And it is as dangerous a thing as possibly could happen to us. And then in 2 months, then Jean will discuss a book about women and about how would you put it, Jean? If you want to say again what you said a moment ago is the reminder. I want everyone to look ahead to these 2 books because we're connected. These are not little islands, these books.
I have a question. Did they bring up any particular processes for changing, creating actual solutions and processes for enacting
They do.
these solutions?
They do.
Like, was there like one that was particularly that brought to you?
Let me
Viral?
think about that for just a moment. They have so many solutions that your question of what might be the most important, let me see if it'll come to me as we're going along. But this is as good as any book we have read in an extended discussion of the new society we want to create, because most of our books have been written by people who understand very well how we've gone wrong. But imagining what our new society is going to be is hard. is harder, isn't it? But you'll find that there's quite a bit in here. Okay, I'm sorry, I walked up there. Buen vivir is one of maybe 100 examples of groups of people or cultures we could imitate. They were not obsessed about cutthroat competition and deep structure inequity, but who wanted a cooperative society and a fair society. So this would, does that answer your question? See, this would be a solution to imitate one vivir. But maybe you're thinking, in the United States today, how do we make the transition?
Well, something actually that, a way to move forward. I was really inspired to hear that Obama is actually pulling together a group of people to discuss how to look at the entire situation and begin to, come up with solutions for dealing with. Talk about that. Terry was writing, it has to do with your letter, as I understood, what can actually be done according to what is, the situation that we're faced.
Well, I'm glad to hear that about him. I consider him about 50% failure. And if he can get himself together to be like Bernie, so the real exemplar of what you're talking about is Bernie. In this book, he divides his life and his ideas and his solutions into 10 different topics. And he tells you how to do it, and he's lived the life of doing it. That is, you do it through politics. Mm-hmm. He shows us how you might go into politics. He was just an ordinary guy, and he lost the first 3 races, did he, or the first 10? I read his biography. He had to pull himself up over and over again. Guys?
And I want to just mention that moving forward is a really critical piece. And I want to just emphasize that the important thing to me about this book is the seeking a vision, because I think it's so clear that a major problem that we have is we do not have a unified vision in the country for how to actually make this a better place to live. And so the conversations that people are having all over the country, like this group is, that are talking about the vision and seeing those words, the world and words that we really can come to agree on, we really are moving in a direction that's carrying us toward a place where we can come to agreement about that. And I think we have to remember, what we are doing right now has a really significant role in helping to articulate that vision, that future vision. And until we actually know where we're going, we're never going to get there.
These 3 writers would applaud that entirely. You have to work together and cooperate.
And I also want, Jeannie, say the name of the book you're going to talk about. That didn't come out, so can you just say that? A few people came since you were here.
Oh, right. In December, we're going to be talking about the subsistence perspective beyond the globalized economy by 2 German sociologists who are eco-feminists, and they started out kind of as eco-socialists and ended up as eco-feminists, I think, or maybe they started out as socialists and feminists, I guess that would be more accurate, and ended up as eco-feminists. It's really a kind of a good companion book to the Magdoff and Williams book, because they both take such a eco-socialist, eco-feminist look at things and critique of things.
Well, back to Shelley's question. The last chapter of this book is about transition to the society that he proposes for us. But as I've been suggesting, he's been talking about these 2 poles. The failure of capitalism to give us the life we need, that most of the people need, and at the same time, the need for imagining a better world. And the last chapter then talks about and asks the question, how do we make the transition? This is chapter 12. Why do we need a revolution? Why do we need to reject socialism. And again, he comes back to Trump. Trump has been a major stimulation to these persons, but Bernie and Naomi both mention Trump. They're writing their books late enough, or more recently enough, just to address him. That's page 305. They're reversing all our reforms. We tried reforms. I am a strong, lifetime believer in the New Deal. I was a child in the 30s. I saw it work in Harrison, Arkansas. I saw the farmers' fields terraced. I saw the erosion stopped by national effort, by national cooperation, and I still cling to that. I still go to Democratic Party meetings and preach when I have a little chance to the New Deal. So that's the process, you see. It's these models that we have in the past, whether it's a Latin American group or it's the Democratic Party New Deal. These are the ways that reformists go about it and to make change. But these are Marxists, and they're fed up with reform. It is failed. We're not going to get there. We're not going to get there in small steps. And let me find the actual words they use. We cannot run by reforms because all the reforms are being reversed. Piece by piece, we built them piece by piece. They're being destroyed before our eyes. So we have to create, here's on page 310, a mass movement. And this is near the end of the book. We have to create a mass movement. How is that done? Well, they don't cite Bernie. I don't think he's ever referred to in here. But Bernie created a mass movement. And he did it in various ways. I think because he was just such a great man of character. From the age of 12 to, how old is he? 75. He has stood for the same kind of beneficent society of, to use their words, of cooperation. But he had to have a mass society. He had to have solidarity. You have to have solidarity. So they're all preaching that. These three writers are. But how to get to solidarity, you've got to say then, or ask, don't you, Shelley, get there. And on page 322, they give a specific reply. This is Bernie's reply. Let me see if I can get to it. You must persuade people to come together for a unified vision. He offers us a unified vision. She offers us a unified vision. They offer us a unified vision. There are no shortage of unified visions. Every victory, no matter how small, builds confidence in organization. So that says to all of us, work wherever we can, doesn't it? Each victory needs to be considered a part, however, of the larger struggle for change. This includes demands and fights for full economic, social, and political equality for people of color, indigenous rights, all into the scourge of hunger and poverty and amid plenty, full and equal rights for women, the introduction of renewable energy sources and the end of fossil fuels, and on and on. Here at the end of this book by Fred and Chris is a quick thumbnail list of the kind of society they would like to have and the values that they would like to introduce. Now, the only way I've ever been able to imagine a better society and getting there is through reforms, not through mass movement. But we have seen a mass movement, so I have more hope in a mass movement today than I had 2 years ago. I always thought it would have to be. Mr. Nader was a hero of mine, as he tried to tackle one problem after the other and was often successful. Bernie is saying, no, we've got to transform the country. He never did, though did preach the overthrow of capitalism that I have been able to find. That means doing away with Wall Street. That means a lot of drastic things. But his reforms were so drastic, were so numerous and so extreme that I almost feel that these two people are pretty close together. These three people are close together, and so is she. She speaks very, very radically about our society. I'm not a voice.
Well, I have a couple of questions. Dealing with some old friends on Facebook, I just get this picture of how entrenched this white supremacy thing is, So we envision these reforms and we start moving toward them. And as we've seen through the Obama presidency, there's this huge backlash. Does he talk at all about how we deal with this incredible threat that white supremacists of the whites feel when their supremacy is threatened? And you take white supremacy, this is just like the poor people. What about the incredible wealth that's invested in like the top 5%? How does he talk at all about how you penetrate this mindset?
He does talk about it. All of those topics he talks about it, but I've tried to emphasize his main things, and not all of the hundreds of specific aspects of our problems. But so let's go back to his principles, and that their principles, to deal with, say, which one do you want to take?
Let's talk about just the ordinary person who's like, they're just ordinary people I'm talking about on Facebook, and they don't consider themselves racist, but they are threatened by racial equality. Basically, this whole NFL thing, they, why they take this attitude of disrespect for the flag. Is how they see it without recognizing the incredible trauma that the African American has gone through in this country. So how do you talk to these people?
I think the best answer to what you just asked is that all three of them see this as a long time struggle. And these Fred and Chris in the very last, they say, look, get yourself ready for a long struggle. I don't think he had this fellow, Mr. Sanders. He's not a person who is childish in his expectations about what we're going to accomplish very, very quickly. But he got out and he went into politics, and he struggled. And what did he do just recently? What bill is he just proposed in the Senate?
Medicaid for all.
Medicaid for all. He believes that we will think big by thinking about national laws, and so that's one way of solving our problems. So to extrapolate from that, Shelley, what would we say about racist citizens that we have all around us? How have we dealt nationally with national law to deal with racists? And we have lots of examples of that, don't we, in the Roosevelt, I'm talking about civil rights legislation and the great changes in education and so on. But there's none of them have a magic bullet or magic. As a matter of fact, you remember in her book, This Changes Everything, Naomi blasts magic over and over and over again, people who have simple solutions. Gene?
Well, you know, Magdoff and Williams are so clear that we need to get rid of capitalism, that in a way, that's an answer to the question, which is, you know, a lot of the problem that white supremacists are having is that they feel that things have been taken away from them. And, you know, the only way that they were able to feel okay about themselves, okay about their lives, because so much has been taken from them, is to feel better than somebody else. So if you can get rid of the dynamic of some people being better than others or worse than others, and instead everybody is a unique and wonderful person, and you do away with competition and capitalism, then the very basis that's causing all of this white supremacy can go away. I mean, some people might still hold on to it or something, I suppose, for a while, but, you know, there's a reason they feel that way, and a whole lot of the reason is capitalism, and the other part of the reason is patriarchy in a society based on domination. So you get rid of capitalism and get rid of domination, and encourage everybody to, well, first of all, give them, you know, what they need, so that, and not have other people having more than they have.
That's the best reply. Right, that's right.
What is it?
Sir?
Page 133 is where he deals with that in here.
All right.
Page 133.
Let's look at it. Let's go to the pages where that particular thing is addressed,
Yeah,
particular question.
it's what she just mentioned about, like at the very top of 133, spots in college for everyone who wants to attend. Thus, when a person of color gets ahead, they, talking about the racists, I guess, are perceived by some as intruders cutting in line, quote unquote, to attain the good life. And that's part of, that's the